Back to Fob segment tonight, the murder of 22-year-old Chris Lane in Oklahoma. As you may know, he was Australian playing college baseball in the USA, by all accounts a good guy, who was simply jogging along one day when three thugs shot him dead. One of the charged teenagers says the attack was motivated by boredom. As we initially reported, the boys are all from chaotic families, and this is why violent crime continues to plague the USA. It is the family breakdown, not guns, not derelict law enforcement, not anything else. The violence is largely committed by young men of all colors, often abandoned by fathers and brought up in squalor and chaos, and then they act out in savage ways. Let's take the indicted teenagers one by one in Oklahoma. 16-year-old Chancey Luna is the alleged triggerman. He's charged as an adult with murder. Known as Baby Drake, he has a history of school truancy and violence. He was living with an aunt and an uncle, but was asked to leave that house because of his chronic marijuana use. His stepfather died in a motorcycle accident. His 25-year-old half-brother is dead, his father unknown, and his mother not caring for him. He had no job, he just hung around. 15-year-old James Edwards lived with his father. His mother is in prison on a drug charge. His father also has a criminal record. Edwards is charged with murder as an adult. He has a previous assault and battery charge and a larceny charge on his sheet. Known as Bug, the New York Times reports he largely hung around smoking pot and playing video games. Information from his internet account suggests he was a member of the Crips gang. 17-year-old Michael Jones charged as a juvenile with accessory to first-degree murder. He allegedly drove the getaway car after the killing. Jones lived with his grandparents, was left back 2 grades in school before he dropped out. He did not have a job. Jones impregnated a 16-year-old girl, and 2 weeks after his arrest, she gave birth to a baby boy. And so you can see what this is about. Largely unsupervised teenage boys running wild. And it is happening everywhere in America. But rarely do you hear about the social destruction of the family in the press. And I applaud the New York Times for reporting on these boys today. I also call for America's politicians to stop the nonsense and begin dealing with the real reason we are a violent country. Out of control young people. We're now living in a time where drug use and legalization is celebrated, and having babies out of wedlock is a prestige item in some places. Social boundaries have collapsed all across the country as the powers that be make ridiculous excuses for violent behavior, ignoring the real issue of dissolving families, preferring to blame guns and wealthy people. The solution to everything is we need more money, even though the USA has among the highest educational spending per student in the entire world. There was a time in America when drug use was discouraged, pushers were considered scum, and having babies when you can't possibly care for them and support them was considered an irresponsible act. There was a time, but it is long since past. Now we don't make judgments on personal behavior, and the misguided among us even glorify antisocial acts. That includes a callous and largely irresponsible entertainment industry, which reaps billions of dollars from destructive music and film. The brutal truth is that Christopher Lane was murdered for no reason. It was an evil act in a country that is far too accepting of evil. We need to stop the madness, call out those who are responsible for violent behavior, and that includes derelict parents. You people should be ashamed. You brought children into the world and have corrupted them. Doesn't get much lower than that.